everyone, this is your educator Priyanka Thakur. I welcome you all on our YouTube channel Kurumantra Shiksha Ka Granth. In our previous video, we got to know about transcription in eukaryotes, but here in this video, we will be talking about transcription in eukaryotes. Earlier, we studied prokaryotic transcription, now we will study eukaryotic transcription. So just hit the like button, share and subscribe. But if you're having any kind of doubt, you can post your doubt in the comment section. I will definitely try to resolve them. Okay. I would try, but I will surely resolve your doubts. Okay. So let's start eukaryotic transcription. We know that in prokaryotic transcription, there is only one RNA polymerase which can synthesize all types of RNAs. But uh, in eukaryotes, there is not only one type of RNA polymerase. Actually, there are three types of RNA polymerases responsible for the synthesis of different RNAs. There is RNA polymerase 1, 2, and 3. RNA polymerase 1 can synthesize all type of ribosomal RNAs except the 5SR RNA. You remember the types of RNAs 28S, 18S, 5.8S and 5S. So all the three types of rRNA can be synthesized by RNA polymerase 1, but 5S rRNA cannot be synthesized by the same. RNA polymerase 2 is mainly responsible for the synthesis of messenger RNA, microinterference RNA and long interspersed nuclear element line. And here comes our RNA polymerase 3 which can synthesize tRNA, 5S RNA and U6 small nuclear RNA. See here RNA polymerase can synthesize mRNA, miRNA and small nuclear RNA, but U6 small nuclear RNA is synthesized by RNA polymerase 3. We also have RNA polymerase 4 and 5 in plants. And these have been evolved. It is thought that these RNA 4 and 5 have been evolved from the RNA polymerase 2. These RNA polymerase 4 and 5 are involved in the synthesis of small interference RNA and small interference RNA directed methylation pathway. The RNA polymerase 4 will be synthesizing small interference RNA while the RNA polymerase 5 will generate a target for the RNA directed DNA methylation. Fine. So that eukaryotic RNA polymerase, it has 12 subunits and two of these 12 subunits are the largest, and these largest two subunits are homologous to beta and beta dash subunit of prokaryotic RNA polymerase. And so those students who are watching my videos continuously must know that prokaryotic polymerase have different subunits. You must be knowing what are the names of these subunits and what is the role of beta and beta dash. Beta and beta dash actually are main catalytic subunits of prokaryotic RNA polymerase. And here eukaryotic RNA polymerase also has 12 subunits which are the largest one, and these two subunits are homologous to beta and beta dash subunits of the prokaryotic RNA polymerase. Okay, so RNA polymerase 2 actually has a series of haptad repeats. It has haptad repeats at the carboxylic end of the largest polymerase 2 subunit. Fine. We got to know that RNA polymerase has two largest subunit. Out of these two, one is larger compared to other, and that larger subunit has a haptad repeat, a series of haptad repeats at its carboxylic end. And these haptads are tyrosine, serine, proline, threonine, serine, proline, serine. This is the consensus sequence. Tyrosine, serine, proline, threonine, serine, proline, serine. Okay. So this carboxyl terminal domain is binding site for many proteins and substrate for many enzymes including kinase component of TF, transcription factor 2H. So this carboxyl terminal domain, which is present at the largest subunit of RNA polymerase 2, it can be a binding site for many other proteins and can be a substrate for many other enzymes such as the kinase component. It can be a substrate for the kinase component of transcription factor 2H. Fine. Let's start. Let's see the next actually. Okay, so these enzymes, they are having the different sensitivity for a toxin called alpha amanitin. This alpha amanitin is produced by Amanita phalloids. This Amanita phalloid is also known as destroying angel. So the RNA polymerase 1 is almost resistant to this toxin, and RNA polymerase 3 is moderately sensitive, while the RNA polymerase 2 is highly sensitive. Remember, RNA polymerase 1 is resistant, but RNA polymerase 2, which is actually synthesizing the mRNA, is highly sensitive to Amanita phalloids, and this alpha amanitin, it can interfere with the RNA elongation during transcription. As we know that RNA polymerase will be responsible for the elongation, but if it is interfered by alpha amanitin, the elongation process will be stopped there, and thus transcription will be stopped as a result. In mitochondria, there is mitochondrial RNA polymerase, but this mitochondrial RNA polymerase is encoded by nuclear genes. Similarly, in chloroplast, also there is RNA polymerase which will be encoded by nuclear gene, but chloroplast itself has its own RNA polymerase. It has two types of RNA polymerases actually. One is encoded by chloroplast gene and other one is by nuclear genes. So the one which is encoded by chloroplast gene is actually the core enzyme, and the other, which is encoded by nuclear gene, will be providing the sigma factor. Fine. The core enzyme is very similar to the one present in the prokaryotic replication, okay, which is present during the prokaryotic replication. Fine. So in chloroplast, there are two types of polymerases. One is encoded by nuclear gene and other is encoded by chloroplast gene. The nuclear gene actually encode for the factor, which is sigma factor, and the main core enzyme is encoded by the chloroplast genes. So let's talk about our promoters now. You know it very well. What is a promoter? Promoter is nothing. It is a sequence. It is a sequence present on the gene. It is a part of the gene which is being transcribed. Okay. So RNA polymerase 1 promoter. This promoter, it transcribes genes that have two guanine cytosine rich promoter sequences in the -4,5 to +20 region. -4,5, you got to know, upstream of the promoter, +20 to the downstream of from start point. Okay, we know that the upstream sequences are those which are present prior to the start point, and downstream are those which are present after the start point. So RNA polymerase 1 promoter actually transcribes the gene that have two guanine cytosine rich promoters sequences, and they also have adenine thymine sequences around the start point. So remember, in RNA polymerase 1 promoter, there will be two guanine cytosine rich promoter sequences. There will be two guanine cytosine rich sequences, and also adenine thymine sequences will be there around the start point. Fine. These sequences, these guanine cytosine sequences and some of adenine thymine sequences, these are sufficient for transcription initiation. But promoters with additional sequences in the region from 180 to 100 upstream of initiation site, which are called upstream control element with will further enhance the initiation. So this is a promoter for RNA polymerase 1. It will be having 2 guanine cytosine rich sequences, and some of adenine thymine sequences will be there around the start point, and other upstream control element will also be present, which will enhance the initiation. Fine. So you gotta know about RNA polymerase, RNA1 promoter. RNA polymerase 1 promoter will be rich in guanine cytosine, and will also have adenine thymine base pair around the promoter side, and it will have some upstream control element which will enhance the initiation. Let's talk about RNA polymerase 2 third first, then we will talk about the promoter of RNA polymerase 2. So RNA polymerase 3 promoter, there are actually 3 types of promoters. RNA polymerase 3 is having 3 types of promoter. There will be one for 5sRNA gene, one for tRNA genes, and one for U6 small nuclear RNA gene. Okay, one promoter, the type 1 promoter will be found in 5sRNA gene, and this promoter will have other conserved sequences which will enhance its activity, which will be in block A and block C for efficient transcription. Similarly, type 2 promoters, which will be found in tRNA genes, these again will have 2 highly conserved sequences, block A and B. So remember, type 1 promoter will have block A and C for the efficient transcription. On the other hand, type 2 promoters of RNA polymerase 3 will have block A and B for enhancing the transcription. And here comes the type 3 promoter, which will be found in U6 small nuclear RNA. This will have a Tata box which will be located between -30 and -25. It means prior to initiation point, and there will be proximal sequence elements between -66 and -46, and distal sequence elements between -244 and -214. Fine. So type 1 promoters, the important thing is to remember is where type 1 promoter are found. These are found in 5sRNA genes. Type 2 promoters are found in tRNA genes, and type 3 promoters are found in U6 small nuclear RNA genes. Okay. So next is our RNA polymerase 2 promoter, which is mainly responsible for the RNA polymerase 2 is mainly responsible for the synthesis of mRNA. So these will be found, the RNA polymerase 2 promoters will be found in the genes which will encode for mRNA, for small nuclear RNA, for line, for microinterference RNA. Fine. So the core promoter, you are understanding, the core promoter is one which is actually present around the initiation point. Okay. So core promoter consists of 2 segments, Tata box and initiator sequence. Okay. So core promoter consists of 2 segments. One is Tata box and initiator sequence. Fine. Tata box, also known as -30 box, it will be present away from initiation point, but prior to initiation point, almost 30 nucleotide upstream to the initiation point. Fine. Some genes which are transcribed by RNA polymerase 2, they will have either Tata box or initiator sequence, and some other genes which will also be transcribed by RNA polymerase 2, they will have none, neither Tata box nor initiator sequence. Such genes which have neither Tata box nor initiator sequence, these are called non genes. These two sequences present in the core promoter, these 2 sequences serve as the binding site for general transcription factors. Remember, in prokaryotes, RNA polymerase can directly bind to the promoter and start transcription. But RNA polymerase 2 but all the eukaryotic promoters, they cannot bind to the promoter themselves. They need some transcription factors. You must have seen the bride and groom. Groom can do anything, like anything, but bride on her wedding day needs her friends. Okay, she's been surrounded by all her friends and taken to the islet. She walked down the islets with her friends as well, isn't it? Okay. So these two sequences serve as binding site for general transcription factor. Even in our mandaps, okay, even in the mandaps, the friends took the bride in the mandap as well. Fine. So the same is the case with the RNA polymerase 2 RNA polymerase 2. It will be brought to the promoter by general transcription factor, while these general transcription factor will not be required by the RNA polymerase in case of prokaryotic transcription. Fine. Other than these two sequences, I mean Tata box and initiator sequence, there will be some cis acting sequences which act as a binding site for regulatory factors. These regulatory factors control the expression of individual genes. And do you know what are cis acting sequences? Those sequences, I mean the sequences which act on the same DNA molecule. These are cis acting sequences, and the sequences which will come from somewhere else and will act on the DNA strand, these are these are trans acting transcription factors. Okay, the factors which will come from somewhere else will act on the DNA. They will be trans-acting transcription factors, and the one which are present on the same DNA molecules are acting on the same, affecting the same. These are cis-acting transcription factor or cis-acting sequences as well. Okay. So other than these two sequences which are present in the core promoter, Tata box and initiator sequence, there are some other cis-acting sequences which will act as a binding site for the regulatory factors. Okay, these regulatory factor will control the expression of individual genes. So Tata box and initiator sequences are the binding site for general transcription factors, while other cis-acting sequences are the binding site for regulatory factors. Fine. These sequences are generally present upstream, not always. Okay, these regulatory sequences are generally present upstream of promoter, but they may be present downstream of promoter as well. Fine. So these are CAT, GC box, and transcription factor 2B recognition element, BRE. This CAT box is recognized by NF1 protein, NFY protein, while this GC box is recognized by SP1 activator. This NF1, NFY, SP1 activator, all these are regulatory factors which will bind to, see, NF1, NFY, it is binding to the CAT box, which is a cis-acting sequence. GC box is again a cis-acting sequence which will be recognized by SP1 activator. This activator is a regulatory protein. F1 is a regulatory protein, regulatory factor. Fine. Now you understand that general transcription factor will bind to the Tata box and initiator sequence, but other regulatory factors, they will bind to the other cis-acting sequences. Fine. A few genes may have downstream promoter element, DPE, which binds to transcription factor 2D. So sequences in core promoter determines the location of start point from where the transcription will be initiated, while other factors, other sequences, they influence the frequency of initiation. Remember, no element is common to all promoters. Like, you won't see all these elements all together in one promoter. You might not see GC box or CAT box in a promoter that will be having BRE but not CAT or GC box, or some may be having GC box but not BRE. Fine. So here is our RNA polymerase 2 promoter. See, it is having a Tata box -31 to -26. Well, that means approximately -30, and here initiator sequence, it is present to the +1 region, -2 to +4, it is on +1 region. Fine. This is downstream promoter element. This is the transcription factor 2b recognition element. Here we cannot see the CAT or our other one GC box. So fine, we just read that all the elements won't be found in a single promoter. Different promoters will have different kinds of elements. Like all the promoters will not be having both Tata box and initiator. Some may have either Tata box or some may have initiator, and some will also be there who will be having none of these. Fine. So these elements are not fixed for, these are not same for all the promoters. Fine. So what are transcription factors actually? These are transregulatory, usually a soluble proteins. Fine. So I told you what are cis-acting elements and what are trans-acting elements. Fine. So transcription factors are transregulatory and usually soluble protein. They are of two general types. They may be basal transcription factor, they may be regulatory transcription factor. Basal transcription factors are actually known as our general transcription factor. These basal transcription factor or general transcription factors are attached to, they get bind to the gene promoter, such as transcription factor 2D, transcription factor 2A. These are some of general transcription factor, basal transcription factors which will determine the transcription site. Fine. And regulatory transcription factors, they will bind to the regulatory sequences. Okay, regulatory sequences are cis-acting sequences. Fine. So regulatory transcription factors will bind to regulatory sequences. Now either they can be enhancers or silencers. They may act as a repressor. If they are enhancers, they will be transcriptional activators. If they are acting as silencers, they will act as a repressor. Fine. So we are having two general types of transcription factors, basal transcription factor and regulatory transcription factor. Now you understand. There are some of the examples of regulatory transcription factors. CBF, cat binding factor, which will bind to cat. Okay. A CAP enhancer binding protein, which will again bind to cat, but it will enhance. It will act as an enhancer. CRAB, CMP response element binding protein. CAMP response element binding protein, and it will definitely bind to the CAMP response element. And this SP1, got to know about it. It will bind to GC box. It is Sevian virus 40 early and late promoter binding protein 1. These are some of the regulatory transcription factor which will be binding to our cis-acting sequences, which are the sequences are other present on different side other than the main start side. These are not found in the core of promoter, but these are present on some other side. But these will act as enhancers or silencer. So here we are having the examples of regulatory transcription factors. All these are regulatory transcription factors, but you will got to know about general transcription factors as well. Let's start with transcription initiation by RNA polymerase 2. How the initiation of transcription will be done by RNA polymerase 2. See, we know that prokaryotic RNA polymerase, it can directly bind to DNA template. Okay, but eukaryotes require some transcription factor to first bind to promoter region and then help recruit the appropriate polymerase. Fine. The transcription factors first attached to the promoter region, the general transcription factor, not the regulatory one. The general transcription factors get attached to the promoter region and then they recruit their respective enzymes, either RNA polymerase 1, 2, 3, but here we are talking about RNA polymerase 2. The complete assembly of transcription factors, RNA polymerase, bind to the promoter, forming a transcription pre-initiation complex. Before the initiation of transcription, there is the formation of a pre-initiation complex. First of all, transcription factors will bind to the promoter region, and then they will bring the RNA polymerase there, and all these transcription factors, RNA polymerase and promoter, all together they will form a pre-initiation complex, and then the elongation will be started. See the Tata box, okay, which is the core promoter element. It is the binding site for a transcription factor known as Tata binding protein. Tata binding protein is a transcription factor, but this Tata binding protein is itself a subunit of another transcription factor called transcription factor 2D. So very first, on this Tata box, transcription factor 2D will be attached with the help of Tata binding protein. Okay, after the transcription factor 2D binds to the Tata box by Tata binding protein, 5 more transcription factors and RNA polymerase combine around the Tata box in series of stages to form a pre-initiation complex. So, during the formation of pre-initiation complex, very first transcription factor 2D will bind to the promoter with the help of Tata binding proteins. Then it will further recruit other transcription factors, RNA polymerases on the promoter, and hence there will be the formation of pre-initiation complex. And those other 5 transcription factors are transcription factor A, B, F, or F will recruit the RNA polymerase 2, transcription factor E, and transcription factor H. So let's see the function of each and every of these transcription factors. But remember, the transcription factors which are actually getting attached to the core promoter, these are called basal transcription factor or general transcription factors. But those transcription factors which are getting attached to other sequences, cis-acting sequences, those are regulatory transcription factors. So let's study about the function of general transcription factors, which are also known as basal transcription factors. Okay, fine. So transcription factor 2D, which will be having transcription binding component, as well as it will also have TAF. What it will have? TAF, TBP associated factors. What the TAF will be? TBP associated factor. Okay, TBP, Tata binding protein associated factors. Fine. So this Tata binding protein, it will be a subunit of Tata transcription factor 2D. It will recognize the core promoter, Tata box, and initiator, and will form a platform for transcription factor 2B binding. Okay, and transcription factor 2D, another subunit which will be TBP associated factor. It will also help in the recognition of core promoter, but it will be regulating the TBP binding. Okay, it will be regulating the TBP binding. Fine. So after TF2D, which will be providing a platform for transcription factor 2B, but before it, transcription factor 2A, it will come there and stabilize the transcription binding protein and transcription binding protein associated factors. Then there will be the entry of transcription factor 2B, which will act as an intermediate in the RNA polymerase 2 recruitment, and it can also influence the selection of the start site. So before RNA polymerase B is being RNA polymerase 2 is being recruited, there will be the entry of transcription factor 2B, which will act as an intermediate and can influence the selection of the start site. After transcription factor 2B has been recruited, there come another transcription factor which is 2E. It will also act as an intermediate. Okay, it will also act as an intermediate in the recruitment of, but it will act as an intermediate in the recruitment of transcription factor 2H. But this transcription factor 2B, will act as intermediate in the recruitment of RNA polymerase 2, and transcription factor F is the main transcription factor responsible for the recruitment of RNA polymerase 2. Transcription factor 2 is the main factor responsible for the recruitment of RNA polymerase 2. Transcription factor 2E is an intermediate in transcription factor 2H recruitment, and transcription factor E regulate the activities. It regulates the activities of what? It regulates the activities of transcription factor H. This transcription factor H acts as a helicase, and it can convert the closed promoter complex into the open promoter complex. It can influence the promoter clearance by the phosphorylation of C-terminal domain of the largest subunit of RNA polymerase 2. So see here now. Here we are having our promoter Tata box. Very first transcription factor 2D will come here and get attached to the Tata with the help of Tata binding proteins. There will be Tata binding protein associated factors which will be regulating the activity of Tata binding protein. Then there will be the entry of Tata of transcription factor 2A which will stabilize the TBP and TAF. Okay, and then there will be the entry of transcription factor 2B which will act as an intermediate for the recruitment of RNA polymerase, and after transcription factor 2B there will be the entry of transcription factor 2F which will actually recruit the RNA polymerase. You can see RNA polymerase here? No. You can see RNA polymerase here? Yes. And then the transcription factor 2E will come and will recruit the transcription factor 2H which will unwind, which will open the helix and will start the transcription, and the transcription will be started by RNA polymerase, and there will be general elongation of the RNA. Fine. And transcription in eukaryote, it requires some activator proteins which will determine the rate of transcription and pattern of the transcription. And these regulatory proteins actually help in the assembly of all the RNA polymerases, transcription factors, some mediators, and chromatin remodeling complexes. And what about these mediators? Actually, these mediators act as co-activators. Some regulatory proteins, they will help in the assembly of all of these. But mediators act as co-activators. These mediator complexes allow the activators to communicate with RNA polymerase 2 and general transcription factors. See, I told you that there will be some regulatory proteins which will assemble all these at promoter. But mostly these regulator proteins are co-activators, and mediator, it will these proteins are activators, and mediator will act as a co-activator. It will allow the activator to communicate with all the transcription factors and RNA polymerases. So we can say that mediator is a general co-activator of RNA polymerase 2 mediated transcription. After a successful elongation, which will be a normal process as you have studied earlier, there will be the termination of transcription. So RNA polymerase 1 gene will be in RNA polymerase 1 gene, termination of transcription will occur in a Rho dependent manner. And the students who have watched my previous video, they will got to know how the Rho independent termination of transcription occur. RNA polymerase 3 genes, there will be a termination of transcription in these genes by the Rho independent pathway by the formation of stem loop like or hairpin like structure. And the termination of transcription in the RNA polymerase 2 gene is a bit complex, and it is coupled by RNA processing event like polyadenylation and addition of cap on the 5' end and addition of poly A tail on the 7' end. Actually, in prokaryotes, the primary transcript we get is known as heterogeneous nuclear RNA. that heterogeneous nuclear RNA will be processed, and it will there will be the addition of poly A tail on 3 prime and cap on the 5 prime end, but it will also contain exon and introns, coding and non-coding region. That's why it is known as heterogeneous nuclear RNA. So that intron, the non-coding region will be spliced, and there will be the formation of completely coding RNA, which is actually the mRNA. But that comes under the processing of RNA. We have completed our transcription here. There are some inhibitors of transcription, rifamycin. This is the derivative of this rifamycin, which is the derivative of rifamycin, and it blocks the elongation by binding to the beta subunit, which is actually the catalytic subunit in prokaryotes. Okay, actinomycin D will bind to double helical DNA, and it prevent the DNA from being an effective template. So that's all about transcription. Share the video, like the video. If you have any doubt, post your doubt in the comment section. But that's all for today. Thank you. Stay healthy.